Shalom Nekulam. Here we'll be reading Micah chapter 5 verse 1 and 2. Look. Cut. Shalom Nekulam. I'm now going to read Micah chapter 5 verse 2, considered a prophecy of how the Messiah will be born in Bethlehem and used often by Christians as a proof to his deity, that he is the Almighty come in flesh. The verse states, وَأَتَى Beth-Lehem Ephratah, and you Beth-Lehem Ephratah, صَعِيرَ لِهِيَثْ بَأَلَفَيْ يَهُوذَا, being young among the thousands of Judah. From you shall go forth to be for me a leader in Israel. In his origins or descendancies, are from of old, from days of antiquity. The key part here is used for proof of the coming rulers mentioned in this verse's deity is that he is that his origins, but they usually translate it as his goings forth, though it is a noun and not a verb, and plural and not singular. They usually translate that his goings forth have been from of antiquity, from days of eternity, giving some sort of mystical feeling as though his origins are from before the existence of time and creation. So two simple parts here. His origins, Misal is plural and a noun, and simply referring back to how it is mentioned in the same verse, his origins being in Judah and Beth-Lehem Ephratah, meaning that his renowned leniency, is that the word? My English is getting bad. Lineage, yeah. That his lineage his renowned lineage goes back to the ancient past. And MIQEDEM, YAMEH OLAM, it's very inaccurate to translate it as days of eternity, because that's not what it means. This term is often used in the Hebrew Bible and common in Hebrew literature in general. And thankfully you can see, not so far from this very same place in the book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2, you can see how it's used elsewhere very easily. You just turn the page, if you're using Hebrew, which you should be, and if you're not, try learning it, because it's very helpful. Chapter 7, verse 14. Same term translated in chapter 5, verse 2 as days of eternity to give support for deity. We find in chapter 7, verse 14, pasture your people, with your rod. The flock of your possession. Dwelling alone. Ya'ad, in the thicket. Carmel, within Carmel, or in the midst of Carmel. It shall see Bashan and Gilead. These are two places. Alright, so the flock shall see Bashan and Gilead, YAMEH OLAM, as in days of old. Christian translations consistently translate it here, the same term found earlier. Here they translate it as days of old consistently, or days of antiquity, but certainly not days of antiquity, because that would give the impression that his flock, the people of Israel, that they had some sort of experience or existence before the existence of creation and time. And that just wouldn't make sense. Anyway, alright, in the next example, so that's the second term used in Micah chapter 5 verse 2. The second term, QEDEM, you can find in the same chapter 7 and verse 20. There it says, Titan emet leYaakov, grant truth to Jacob, hast leAbraham, grace to Abraham. And these are general terms to their descendants, as is often the case. Asher nishba'to la'abuthenu, as you promised to our fathers, YAMEH OLAM, from days of old. Now, if QEDEM means eternity, that means that he had some sort of interaction, the Almighty, with the forefathers of the people of Israel, which would, of course, mean that they preceded creation, and should probably therefore be worshipped, since they are one in some sort of trinity or I don't know, some kind of, how would you do it? Monody, duality, trinity, uno, dos, tres, cuatros. Quantity? I don't know. Anyway, so that shows the silliness of the thing. Yeah, I think that's it. Pretty easy. This should just be one more lesson for why it is very important for those who believe the Bible and those who like to criticize the Bible, claiming that it's full of contradictions, to take it upon themselves if they really want to base their life on their supposition or conclusions. Take it upon themselves to learn the language, at least the alphabet, so that they can compare and see if how the same word is used in different places, and not to trust translations, not even literal translations, because I'm using here an interlinear Bible, and it's called the literal translation. And even in the interlinear parts, right under the Hebrew, where it says YAMEH OLAM, they put, just like most Christian translations, days of eternity, though just one chapter later, in chapter 7, the same exact term, and they put days of old. So you can't, until you learn it yourself, you're going to be stuck relying either on Christian translators or the wicked Jews who are just trying to deceive you and get you into hell. Heaven forbid. I examined a few popular translations, how they did it, and in Micah chapter 7 verse 14, the King James Version is inconsistent with how they translate it in chapter 5 verse 2, as is the New American Standard Bible, and the Amplified Bible is a little bit consistent. In 5:2 they put ancient days and then eternity in brackets, whereas here in Micah chapter 7 verse 14 they didn't, none of them did. And the New International Version was good in both places, didn't put eternity or days of eternity, whatever, but they did have it in a footnote. And Young's literal translation was good on both ends and didn't have silly footnote, at least not on the website where I looked at the Young's literal translation. Therefore, yeah, let's try to free ourselves from these things and rely on He who gave the Torah and the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, to the world by means of His prophets, and take it upon ourselves to learn the language so that we can learn it as it really is written and not by the hands of biased men. I think that's not a big task to take upon oneself if one really loves the Almighty and trusts Him and believes in His prophets. Blessed is He who grants guidance to His people, those who seek His name.